All right, so today is day 4 in the workshop. Today's gonna be kind of a weird day when it comes down to spirituality. And not weird, but it's just this information is gonna be very different than what you've been exposed to. Um, we'll get things started by I'll cover the two worksheets that I sent you. One is a blank one, the other one is the example of the stuff that I've written. And then we're gonna get even further deeper into kind of like my understanding of spirituality, what God means to me, things like that, just to see if some of these things resonate with you. But by all means, I'm not trying to tell you what to believe. I'm just trying to provide you guys with different perspective of your own reality, and it may or may not resonate with you. Whatever does, cool, use it. Whatever doesn't, cool, don't use it. Just kind of listen. Try to follow my logic here. A lot of the conclusions that I've come to in my life, especially about God and about spirituality and what it is, what it means to me, has been through a life. It's been a lifetime experience, and me analyzing and trying to understand what it is that makes sense to me. You know, um, I was raised Catholic. I for a while I was going to a Christian church. I still go to a Christian church. I align with a lot of Christian beliefs. I think a big part of it is programming, but there's a lot of beliefs that I do possess that are not aligned with Christianity or with Christian beliefs, And so, but I don't find it to be wrong. I've studied religion. I've studied like Hinduism and Buddhism and some other religions as well. And I've picked up a lot of like different philosophies and things from different religions that just made sense to me. Um, I believe this journey we're all on, it's a spiritual journey. It's a spiritual evolution we go through, and we should really be open to information, even information that may seemingly look like it contradicts what you already believe. I think it's good to expose yourself to that information because it challenges you. If you can't really challenge your beliefs and then establish an argument that really supports your belief in a way where like, dude, this is exactly what I believe, then you don't really know what you believe. This is my opinion. Because if you can't really support what you believe through a proper discussion, as this is not you arguing and yelling and shit like that. This is you setting up an appropriate argument to support your beliefs in the face of not so much, not in the face of opposition, but in the face of information that may oppose what you believe, right? Because there is a difference. Just because someone doesn't believe what you believe doesn't mean that they're in opposition with you. You're not in competition here. It's just try to understand their perspective, and they should do the same with you to try to understand your perspective of life. Do they have to accept what you believe? Of course they don't have to. Do you have to accept what they believe? Of course not. Just have an intellectual peaceful discussion about what you believe, and that's it. Leave it at that. You don't have to go into a war that's going to last 1,000 years of killing each other and slaughtering each other because you don't solve anything that way. Violence never solves a thing. We can see what's going on in the Middle East, in Israel, in Palestine. Dude, go ahead and kill each other. See what solutions you'll come up with. Zero. Nothing's gonna come. Nothing's gonna be resolved that way, and it never has. They've been doing that for decades and decades and decades now. So we'll see if they ever resolve anything there. But if they can come together and talk about things and try to resolve things, not so much where they have to agree with each other, but come to an accord and peace, they can stop killing each other. Thousands of people can stop dying. Civilians, women, children can stop dying if they can do that. But they choose to kill each other. It's terrible. And so there's peaceful discussions about, your differences. Dude, it's possible. You don't have to hate each other and you don't have to try to attack each other. And so I just ask you to kind of open your mind to what I'm going to present to you guys because it's going to be very different than what anything you probably ever heard in your life. I'll try to just keep this discussion within the hour because there's a lot. So we'll go ahead and get things started here by just covering the worksheets that I provided. So let me share my screen. Second screen. Boom. All right. So here we are. This is the blank one that you're going to be filling out. So when it comes down to your beliefs, um, just Just figure out what it is that what you believe about God, what you believe about spirituality, what you believe about your purpose in life. There's so much that goes into this part because spirituality isn't is it's a very broad subject, okay? So here you will clarify to yourself what you believe about your creator, God, and about your spiritual beliefs, okay? If you follow a specific religion, then use that as your foundation. You know, I don't feel that religion is bad at all, but religion does help you establish some foundation of spiritual beliefs and gets you kind of started with it. These beliefs will definitely be something that you will continue to evolve over time, or that will continue to evolve over time. And that I do believe. Like if you think you already know everything because you've read the Bible like 5 times, dude, yeah, no, that's not. That Bible is so much information and so much to process. And this is just one of many religious doctrines that exist, you know? And there's so much more information beyond the Bible. Do not resist new information. Allow yourself to be exposed to new information and allow it to challenge your current beliefs. If you come across new information with which you resonate, feel free to adopt those beliefs into your belief system. This is exactly how I practiced my entire life. I there's some Hindu stuff that I came across. I was like, dude, that makes sense. I like that. And I just started using that. I just applied it to my belief system. So there's some other things from Buddhism, some other things from different philosophies, and I've just applied it because it just resonated with me. And I've got to the point where I trust my intuition. I trust this instinct of mine of saying, just like, hey, this information makes sense. Use it. I just trust it. As opposed to, oh my God, it's different than what I believe, and I have to push it away because this is how most people react when they come across information that isn't aligned with what they believe. And this is how I approach life, right? So what do I believe? Focus my thoughts on what I believe and what I desire to believe as well, right? This is what you believe, and this is also what you want to believe, you know? So the truth I believe, this is so stated here. I put something long because if you looked at mine is super long. It's like a page and a half. And then the reasons why you believe, right? Why do I believe what I believe? Right? Is it, well, I was raised Christian, and I believe in the Bible, and I trusted in it, and so forth. The faith that I've had is really confirmed within me that this is like real to me. So this is why I believe it. Great, awesome. Use it. Write it down. Now, actions you can take. Set a list of actions and schedule them for daily or weekly to dos. Set time limits for these actions. What actions can I take to align myself with my beliefs? Right. So if you say, for instance, I go to church once a week. Perfect. Add it in there, right? Say, I pray every evening. Great. Add it in there. I pray for 5 minutes every evening. 5 minutes I pray before going to sleep. When I wake up, I give thanks to God, because it's just something I do. This is a spiritual thing that I do, right? So another one, I meditate. I meditate 10 minutes a day. I put a timer on, I get somewhere quiet, calm my mind, and I just close my eyes and I just try to just focus on the blackness behind my eyelids, right? And so again, there's so many different things you can do to assist your spirituality. I study energy, right? I study what energy is. I study chakras and auras and stuff like that. I study at least. I find a YouTube video that's at least 10 to 15 minutes, and I watch that every day. And the ones that I really like, I watch it over and over and over again. There's one that I watch at least once a day that's about the 12 universal laws, and I watch that every day. Why? Because this is kind of me learning more about these universal laws and wanting to embed them into my subconscious so I can live by them subconsciously, automatically, and autopilot. I just live by these laws. And so you can add different actions here for yourself, okay, that you can do daily or maybe even weekly. Put a time limit. I think time limits are great. I love just putting a timer on my phone, 2 minutes, and just go for 2 minutes. That's all I'm doing. I'm just doing. That's it. Done. I'm focused on that. I'm going to be talking about hyper focus on Saturday. It's just I'm going to talk about a bunch of different strategies on Saturday, but being doing using a time limit where I'm just going to meditate for 5 minutes. Like if you're like 5 minutes is too long, then meditate for 2 minutes. For 2 minutes you can just kind of quiet your mind for a bit and just kind of close your eyes and just like you know 2 minutes. It's not a long time, right? And you're gonna notice 2 minutes are gonna fly by, and then okay, I need 5 minutes now, and then eventually 7 minutes, and eventually 10 minutes, and you'll find yourself you can meditate for like 20 minutes. Like it's like 20 minutes won't even be enough time for you. But if you build up that tolerance, though, and meditation is a great way to manage stress, to connect with the quietness within yourself, right? I love meditation. I recommend it to everybody. So that's how this is structured. Now, the example that I have is pretty long here. Um, but what I did here for this part here, for all of this that you see here, I have both the what I believe and why I believe it, okay? So um, I guess I have enough time. Maybe I don't. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna read this really quick with you guys, and then I'm gonna jump into some other stuff, okay? So this is what I believe. Again, just sharing with you guys. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, great. We are all spirit, a spark of the source, a fraction of God's infinite energy. We are all the Atman, which is just another word for spirit. This is a journey of the spirit along this infinite life of energy and its many manifestations. The purpose of this journey is to grow through experience. Our purpose is to live as different forms on different planes of existence in different galaxies, universes, and dimensions. Our purpose is to collect information from every experience through this endless cycle of lives. Our purpose is to continuously grow and evolve as spirit beings. Our only goal through all of this is to reunite with the source, with God. On earth, we need to rid ourselves from karma built up from past lives in this life. We all need to rid ourselves of fear if we want to unbound ourselves from being reincarnated on earth and continue our spiritual journey. Fear is something created by the ego, but we must understand that the ego and the fear it creates are not real. None of the fears we feel are real. We only experience fear because we choose to believe in it. We choose to be fooled by the ego. Therefore, it is up to us not to be fooled and to tame and control the ego and use it to our advantage. The best way to control the ego is to strengthen our ability to love, feel appreciation, and allow God and love to dominate our beliefs and thoughts. Since the only truth in life and in our universe is love, then we should only live in accordance to the truth. Our bodies are temples of God, temples of love. Through our general, though our general purpose on this spiritual journey is to collect information through experience, we all individually have specific tasks or duties in our lives on this plane of existence. Our dreams are our duties. As we enter this life on earth with no clue as to what we're destined to accomplish, we begin to understand our destiny slowly along our path of life, as long as we ask for the guidance within ourselves. So every experience we have and every person with whom we interact and all the things that we have to go through to lead us to wherever we're destined. Sorry. So every experience we have and every person with whom we interact are all things that we have to go through to lead us to wherever we're destined. Therefore, we must have faith that the path we're on will ultimately lead us to where we're destined to go. We must have faith knowing that we will discover our true purpose in our life. And we must have faith that every pure desire we feel is a sign from God to follow that path and to make the decisions necessary to ensure that you accomplish your dreams and move in the direction of your destiny. Always possess deep faith. Trust in your inner guide, your spirit, the Atman, God. Another part of our purpose on earth is to evolve as spiritual beings. I believe this can be done by increasing the vibrational frequencies of our essence, our spirit. We must unite our mind, body, and spirit. We must become one with God. We must understand we are God. We must realize our true potential, uncover it, and use it to accomplish and the our destiny and the evolution of the earth. I believe that it is our destiny to evolve in this manner and to be able to manipulate energy precisely with our mind, body, spirit unit. I am your instrument, God. Act through this vessel. think, and speak through this vessel. I am spirit, which is you, God. I am love. I am energy. I am not this body nor anything of possession. I have disattached myself from the delusion created by the ego. The only truth, the only thing real in this universe is love. Everything in this universe, all matter of mass and all massless matter is the energy known as love. This energy is what connects us to the earth, to her animals, and to her breathtaking landscapes. Love is what connects us to the sun, the moon, and the planets and the stars. This strong bond, this undeniable connection is simply explained by love, the blood of God pumping through every part of the space-time fabric. It is the very essence of space and existence. We commit ourselves to grow as spiritual beings on earth. We commit to evolve our minds and bodies and spirits. We commit to strengthen our ability to create and manipulate energy for the greater good. We have the power to design our lives, but we must always commit to grow and contribute with all our creations. This ability is implanted within each of us. We will uncover it and we will all prosper, right? So that's what I believe. And then I have a set of things that I put here that I do on a daily basis, weekly basis, and so forth and so on to to help me in my evolution, okay? To help me further understand my beliefs. Now, this what I believe here has evolved. This is what I believe now, but it's changed many, many, many times, okay? And it will continue to evolve and change, right? And this is what's going to happen to you as well. Now, let's let's get into close. So let's get into a further discussion on a couple of things here, okay? So this is how I understand life. So we have this right here. So what is God? Let me kind of explain what I believe God is. So I think a lot of us have slightly misconceptions of what God is. I think a lot of religions focus more on the father, the masculine, the father, the masculine, and we tend to ignore the feminine. Look, God is both energies. There's feminine energy and masculine energy. Let me see here. Here you go. Feminine and masculine. These two energies do exist. They're real energies, okay? These are real energies. You can split it right here. God is both feminine and God is also masculine, okay? What happened in the beginning, the Big Bang, was, I believe, is this. God separated these two energies. And these two energies, as they separated, they create this attraction and this repelling of each other that literally creates everything we see in our existence. And I'll prove this to you in just a moment. And then as these two energies come together, they complete the full expression of divine consciousness or the full expression of God, such as a man and a woman. Look, the woman is the physical expression of divine femininity, the divine feminine energy. And the man is the physical expression of the divine masculine energy. And what's interesting about these two energies is that they're opposites. That's why they have the plus and the minus. They're inverses of each other. The way the man thinks and the way the man is, and even the body of the man is inverted in the woman. Okay, and and then reversed as well. And you can see this, people. Look, I can show you here. Where is this? I have images all over the place, and I need to find them. So give me a second. I have here we go. So here, let's just talk about this. I know that we all know what this is, but even look at the reproductive organs of the male and the female. They're inverted of each other, right? The female is internal when the masculine is external. The female is a void and the masculine is what fills the void, right? The female eggs are internal and separate as the male eggs are external and closer together. They're inverses of each other, right? So again, design purposely that way. Even if you look at the further looking at the male body and the female body, look at the female body. The female body is more of a piece of art as opposed to the male body. The female body is smooth and curvy, when the male body is bulky and muscular, right? Bigger and stronger. They're inverses of each other, purposely done. You know by who? By divine consciousness. This is how God designed it. And we can see it. The way men think and the way females think are very different. Females are more emotionally connected, and males are more logically connected. Men are more focused on taking action. Women are more focused on when it comes down to creating connections. That's why women are better at raising children, but men are better at you know turning children into adults because of the reality of life. There's so many inverses between the male and the female that are purposely expressed within not just our biology but in our psychology, right? And this is just what I believe. And what's interesting is that as these two energies come together, right, the male and the female energies come together, you create this beautiful balance. Here's this balance of integration. You have synthesis, co-creation, collaboration, supportive, spacious, intentional, resilient, symbiotic, you know? So you can see right here, the masculine is always doing, the feminine is always feeling and knowing. The woman tends to be more intuitive than the man. Fedra habits, she blows my mind all the time. She can tell when people are certain people. Like all the time. Here, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Every time we go to a place, like say a restaurant, and we see somebody walking by, she's like, that's the owner. I'm like, how do you know? She's, I just know. I'm like, what are you, a psychic or something? Are you a bruja, witch or something? No, but this is because women are more intuitive than men. This is just a reality of our energies. This is how it's like. It's not that the masculine is better than the feminine, nor is the feminine better than the masculine. The masculine means nothing without the feminine. But on the flip side, the feminine means nothing without the masculine. You know why? Because we're two halves of one whole. Together, we complete the full expression of divine consciousness, not separate. Okay. This is embedded in our biology. This is embedded in our psychology, and it's everywhere else as well. In mathematics, you have inverses of expressions. You have these right here: plus and minus, multiplication and division. Yes, the plus is the inverse of the minus. What do you do when you have 3 plus 2? You combine them, right? You get 5. What do you do when you have 3 minus 2? Well, you subtract, which is the exact opposite of combining. Now, what about multiplication? 3 times 2 is 3 two times, right? It's 3, basically 3 plus 3, which is then 6, right? So that's what you do there. But say, for instance, if you take 6 divided by 2, it's actually 3, because you divide it, you break it up into two parts. If you break 6 up into two parts, you get 3 and 3. They're inverses of each other. The only other mathematical expression in math that has an inverse, or that's a function that's inverse, is the derivative and the antiderivative. Okay, this is when you get into calculus. That's it. Everything in math works off of these three functions. Everything. And math is extensive. You go from basic math to algebra 2 to geometry to trigonometry to calculus and all the variations of calculus and all its applications, and you're only using these three and their inverses. This you think this is purposely done? Yes, of course it is. It's perfectly designed this way. By who? Yes, God, divine consciousness, because it's too perfect. It's too perfect to say it came about accidentally, in my opinion, right? All this came about accidentally over billions of years of evolution. I'm like, really? Like, do you really believe that? How perfectly balanced things are? Like, I don't think so, bro. Like, I just disagree. I personally disagree with that. To think that it all came about accidentally, to me, it's absurd. I can't even fathom the thought of it. So we have that. In physics, we also have what's known as the magnetic field, and then what's electromagnetism. But let me pull a couple of these things up before I kind of get into this thing. Here's that, that, post this. Because again, I have images all over the place. Actually, another thing I wanted to kind of show here that are inverses each other, it's the sun and the moon. The moon is the is the expression of feminine energy, and the sun is the expression of masculine energy. And I'll prove this to you in just a moment. You have also you have day and you have night. Again, inverses of each other, right? This dichotomy that meaning that there's two things that are in opposition with each other, but that exist at the same time is a reality of is a fact of our reality. So day and night, right? It's the sun and the moon are inverses of each other. Now the moon is the expression of the feminine energy. Let me show you why. Get all this out of the way. Okay, you kind of zoom in a bit here. Okay, so what happens to the female body every single month? The female body builds up its uterus wall and then it sheds it. What happens to the moon every month? The moon builds up its light and then it sheds its light. It's a 27-day cycle. What is the cycle or the menstrual cycle of the woman? It's about 27 days. If the woman never threw off her cycles, if she never if her cycles are never thrown off, say by birth control or by other like biological issues, her cycle should just be perfectly aligned with the moon cycle, perfectly aligned. 27 days as the moon builds up its light and sheds its light, just like it happens in the woman. And so there's a cycle occurring in the female body that doesn't occur in the male body, right? And how is the sun? If you look at the sun is constant, isn't it? It's constant in its light. It's constant and constant. It doesn't shed its light and build its light. It's always constantly shining. Just like men, our hormones are always balanced. This cycle here throws off the female hormones as well, right? I know I've married. Fedra goes through this cycle every month. She gets a little moody sometimes because she feels physical pain internally. And I have to understand that as a man because sometimes she can get a little snappy, but it's just what happens with her internally is the pain that she feels. And I get it, you know? I understand it. So I have to kind of my son's like, why is mommy so mean? I was like, Bryson, you have to understand, women go through, you know, a thing in the month during the month where they feel pain, and so it's kind of hard for them to kind of manage their emotions sometimes. And you have to kind of, we us men, we just have to deal with it. That's just it. You have no other choice, bro. Okay, either that or just don't ever be with a woman ever. So that's just me with him, you know, like because he has to understand this. Because how can he understand? How can I understand it? I'm not going to stand here and say I know how it feels to have a period. That just sounds ridiculous, right? You know, sometimes I have like constipation pains. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing, right? They're cramps that you guys have, right? Very similar to like giving birth, isn't it? And so cramps are painful, like incredibly painful from what I've known. Just I've never experienced. I never obviously right, and I don't plan to. I'm very happy to be a man. I'm just gonna say that I'm very happy. So this is again perfectly designed, right? By who? Again, divine consciousness. God designed it this way. So let's continue. Um, let me pull up a few other things here. So the sun and the moon, we talked about that. All right. Let me go back over here. All right. So here's another inverse uh of these two energies, the expressions of these two energies. I got that. All right, and then I'm gonna pull something up in just a second. All right, so here's this. So you have the magnetic field. So in physics, when you start studying electricity and magnetism, you see that they go hand in hand. Magnetism is a field that's created around, say for instance, a magnet. We know how magnets work. We've all played with magnets, right? If you have if you have two poles of the opposite, what do? They once you get close enough, they pull each other together. They just snap. And if you have two poles that are the same, what happens there? They repel. Look, when you have a man who's very masculine and a woman who's very feminine, there's going to be a very strong pull between the two. Why is that? Because they are the exact opposites of the energy which attract each other. This goes to the law of polarity, right? We all know how this feels, especially when we start talking about that physical attraction that we start having with each other when you have a very masculine man and a very feminine woman that just come together. They just snap together, right? Now, when you have two energies or two poles that are the same, they tend to repel each other, right? Just like these two right here. We've always played with magnets. I played with magnets before, and I come to the realization how amazing this is. Remember how it feels with a magnet when you try to pull the North Pole and the North Pole together, and they just pulls each other apart, and they like you're trying to pull it, and it just kind of one goes this way and the other one goes this way, and you feel the force. Do you guys realize it's an invisible force? There's nothing actually pushing them away. Nothing. If you put these two magnets close enough together, eventually they just snap together. What pulled them together? I get it. It's just a magnetic field. But don't you realize it's invisible? So if this is invisible, if there's an invisible force acting here, what else is invisible? What other things in this world are invisible that we cannot see? This is a very powerful. This has a lot of implication, in my opinion, because we trust so much on our own eyes to believe only what we see. But there's so much going on in the invisible that we can't see that are also real and that are just as powerful as this magnetic field. And these magnetic fields are everywhere, especially especially with us. We also have a magnetic field, right? Let me get all this out of the way. We also possess a magnetic field, people, right? I've talked about this before. Here it is. Here's us. This is a human being. This is the magnetic field of the human being. It's just as real as the magnets. So this push and pull that we feel, this attraction and repelling that we feel for with other people, it's caused by the magnetic field. When two people come together, here we are with this. If you have one who's who's masculine and the other one who's feminine, and they come together, there's going to be a significant attraction between the two because their magnetic fields are pulling them together. Now, say for instance, you have one who's very masculine and the other one who's very masculine, it's usually going to be a repelling of each other. And we see this, right? Especially we see this with animals, like especially when males come together, like I've seen, like say bulls, they start attacking each other. Boom, they're attacking each other. They're not coming together like a male and a female does. They're trying to repel each other. They're trying to push each other away because there's this sense of competition. The masculine is very competitive, right? The feminine isn't, right? And so there's a repelling here going on. What's it caused by? It's caused by the magnetic field, which is analogous to the magnets. Okay, these magnets are real. This magnetic field is a real thing. It happens to all of us. Okay, why is it designed this way? Because it's been designed by divine consciousness for it to be this way. Okay, it's this. If you understand this, it's very powerful, and you start looking at life very differently. Now, I'm gonna jump into something that's further deeper. Let me start here. So this is an atom, right? So even in the atom, we have the expression of the masculine and the feminine. The atom's nucleus is positively charged, and the electrons are negatively charged. Okay, the nucleus of the atom is the expression of the masculine, and the electrons rotating around the atom is the expression of the feminine. Now, you have to understand something about the feminine energy. The feminine energy has a stronger pull and push than the masculine energy. The feminine energy, think of it as the magnetic field, right? This magnetic field that that that's created with the feminine is very powerful. You have to understand, men will do anything for a woman, especially because they're driven by sex. This is something that's biologically imprinted in us. Again, designed by who? designed by divine consciousness, right? Now, if you have a very feminine woman, say you're a man and a woman come together, they're married, and this woman is very feminine and her energy is very powerful with her magnetic field, of that man will end up who's very masculine, this masculine man who is kind of like a charged particle in this magnetic field is going to be pushed and pulled by the feminine magnetic field. The woman itself, or the feminine energy, is is basically the expression of the magnetic field, and the masculine energy is the expression of electricity or an electric charge. But in order for an electric charge to move, to be pushed away or pulled towards, it needs to be in the presence of a magnetic field. That magnetic field is usually a woman, right? And a woman can really drive her man to become very successful, or she can drive her man crazy if she doesn't know how to balance this energy. Okay, the the feminine energy is very powerful and very potent, and it drives masculine energy, and it's designed this way purposely. Okay, it's designed this way purposely. And so when you have a man and a woman who come together and their energies are balanced and they know how to use these energies in a very spiritual, loving, caring way, where they're not abusing their energies, because if you abuse feminine energy, it can be very destructive. If you abuse masculine energy, it can be very destructive as well. But if they come together and there's love, what happens here is the man will go out there and do everything he has to do to protect his family, provide for his family, love his family, and everything. And he'll always come back to that. And the woman will do her best to create a supportive household where he can come and rest and go out there and do it again the next day. Because to provide, to go out there and to like fight and like, I know we're not fighting literally, but to go out there in the real world is very stressful for men and women, right? But if it's always the men out there creating and building and working to provide, then he does need to rest so he can go out there and do it, because eventually he's going to get so exhausted that he ends up getting ill or whatever. And but a woman needs to be supportive in that sense. This is a perfect balance within a household that we should thrive to create. But this is my understanding. I feel that this is the way it's been designed. Now back to the atom, right? So one thing about this atom is that everything in the world is created from atoms. Everything in our existence are created from these atoms. And what's interesting is that the 99% of the atom itself is empty space. There's so much space in between these guys. If if you were to go to a football field and you take a quarter and you put it in the middle of the field, and then you take um, a couple of quarters and go throughout the bleachers or the seats, and you end up like spreading more quarters out there, like across the seats out here. That's pretty much the amount of space there is between the nucleus and the electrons around the nucleus. If you like do this, you know, that's how much space there is in between. 99% of the atom is empty space. We are built of trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of these atoms, okay? So what does that imply? It implies that we're mostly empty space. Now, what's in the space is what we should be asking ourselves, right? Is it just emptiness? No, I don't think it's emptiness personally. I think within this empty space, which is the invisible, is is divine consciousness. Is our consciousness, is what we are of soul and spirit, right? Because these this is energy here. These atoms have energy, and they're moving and moving in crazy speeds, and they're everywhere. Not only that, these atoms, you know what they do? They actually disappear and they reappear. They disappear and they reappear in our existence. Where are they going? Why do they come back? I don't know, right? But this is what the scientists have discovered. People who study quantum physics, they see what's happening here. They've come to the conclusion that everything is energy. Now, let's talk about that. That's just the next part of this discussion is energy, specifically light, specifically energy of specifically light. That's what really want to talk about here. So let me move these out of the way really quick. So this is just another expression of the magnetic field that we are. But let me see here. There's that. Okay. So let's talk about light right now. I have this one up. I have another one up to get into that one. Okay. All right. So let's kind of like look at a couple of things here. So this is the light spectrum. So light, right? What we know is light. This is more getting into physics, but there's so much implication with understanding what light is. Now, the light we have here, light, where you go from gamma radiation to X-rays to ultraviolet radiation to infrared, and then we have in this section right here, this small little tiny little slit is then amplified here, right here, and this is known as the visible light spectrum. When they're talking about visible light, this is the light that we can see. We can only see this light. So you see this little small little thing here between right here and all the way across over here, you have basically an infinite frequency of light, infinite frequency. You go from gamma rays, you go from X-rays, ultraviolet rays, then you have visible light at this tiny little slit, then you have infrared, then you get into microwaves, and you have radio waves and so forth and so on, okay? Now, what light looks like, think of light are just waves. They're a bunch of waves. Let me get this out of the way. Light is just a bunch of waves. This is another expression of this stuff, right? As you can see here, uh, there it is. You see this little depiction here, and then you have see this depiction here, and see this depiction here, right? So the further you go this way on the light spectrum, the light waves are smaller, right? They're smaller, but there's like more waves in that. There's this higher frequency. That means that this is higher energy, high energy. If you were zapped with any gamma rays, gamma radiation, you probably melt because the energy is so high that it'll end up melting your body. You have X-rays, right? We've seen X-rays when you go to a doctor. X-rays is when they shoot a bunch of light at you that goes through your skin and it bounces off your bone because your bone is so dense and it bounces back and it gives them an image of your bones, right? Ultraviolet, right? We talked about what ultraviolet is, comes from the sun, and then the sun gives off all this light, all this radiation across the board, right? But it's more concentrated with this little slit here, which is what we can see. We can't see the rest of it, people. You have microwaves. Microwaves is what's used with the cell phones. Cell phones use microwaves to pass out to communicate with itself. Okay, and I'm going to emphasize this in just a second. Um, me move this. So back here, and then as you continue on, you get radio waves. So when you listen to the radio, the reason they're called radio waves is because there are these big, long waves, and there's less energy as you get to this side of the spectrum. There's less energy. Okay, there's higher energy on the gamma side. Radio waves, we're exposed by radio waves all the time. Now, is it good? Not XX exposure because we shouldn't be exposed to it that much, but we use radio waves all the time. Microwaves is your cell phone, okay? So one thing about light is that light can be used to transfer information. We've already seen this, haven't we? Right? Our cell phones receive information, don't they? They receive information and they send information. Light is energy, but light is also information. Now, that means what? That means energy is also information. So the connection I'm trying to make here through this discussion is that you have light, right? You have, which is equal to information, right? Information. And then but we know that light is energy. So we know that energy is light. Oh, energy. We have energy. Energy is light. So therefore, information is energy. You see this equivalent thing? Information is energy. Now, if God is energy, God is love, and energy is love, that means God is also information, all right? So I'm trying to connect it all with God, right? So God is love, love is energy, God is energy, God is light. Remember what Jesus says in the Bible? I am the light, I am the way. Light, right? Why would he say that? And if light is information, so there we go. God, love, energy, light, information. And if God is consciousness, then light is consciousness, right? All I'm trying to do is prove to you one thing. God is energy. Energy is information. But if God is consciousness and God is energy and it's light, then light and information and energy and love is consciousness. All right? When you die, if you weighed 150 pounds before you died and after you die, you're going to still weigh 150 pounds. You know why that is? Because the essence of what you are is light. Your soul is light. Your spirit is light. Everything is connected to light. All energy is light. All energy is invisibleness. Even the stuff that we can touch, this desk, this little thing that for my hands when I type, right? Our bodies, right? In essence, it's all light. It isn't physical energy. The illusion is the physical. The reality is the light energy, which is the spirit, which is God, which is love, which is light, which is also information. We store information not in our brain, we store it in our spirit. Our spirit contains all that information. Um, and it's all invisible. Do you see the signals going from your cell phone to the cell phone tower and coming back? No, we do not see it. But it is real though, because we do receive the signal, do we not? We receive these phone calls. So this is real. It is real. We can't see it, but what you can't see is still reality, right? And it's a reality in which we exist all the time. The false narrative we've been fed over our lifetime is that everything physical is real, but in reality, no, everything physical isn't real. Everything physical is just an expression of consciousness. My body is an expression of my consciousness, this consciousness which is an extension of divine consciousness of God. And this is how I live my life. This is how I understand. Now, one thing, now I'm going to get into this here, which is get all this stuff out of the way, which is us. Now I'm going to start talking about the human body and what we are. So since I've proven to you we're light, and look at the light spectrum really quick, right? Do you see how it goes from red, from red to orange to yellow to green to blue to indigo and to violet? Just pay attention to this is the same light spectrum we get in a rainbow. If you look at a rainbow, the rainbow has these same colors running through it. Okay? Again, perfectly designed. And then look at our chakras. Our chakras have the same colors associated all the way across from the root chakra all the way to the crown chakra. These colors aren't just associated randomly. These aren't arbitrary colors. These colors are designed are set up this way purposely. What's interesting is that if you look at the light spectrum here, that the the energy here for the violet is actually higher than the energy here for the red. So this is lower frequency. This is higher frequency. Now, let's pay attention to the chakras really quick. At the root chakra, which is what connects us to the earth, to the physical realm, this is lower frequency. And up here, this is higher frequency. God is high frequency. The more frequency you can get into, love is very high frequency. Passion, being genuine are very high frequencies, okay? The crown chakra really allows you to connect with God, okay? and then you have the third eye chakra as well. The third eye chakra is connected to the pineal gland, which is located in our brain. Let me see if I can just get an image really quick for the pineal gland. So pineal, so right there. Let me erase all this. The pineal gland is a physical part of our brain, located right in the center of our brain, right smack in between your eyes, right behind your eyes. Let me see if I can get a better image. I guess this one should be fine. Hopefully it can pop up. All right, here. What? All right. These guys, bro. All right, I'm trying to zoom in here. So it's right there. Look. All right. So boom, right there, pineal gland. And it looks like, and then this is where melatonin is built up in your pineal gland, right? The pineal gland is actually expressed in a lot of hieroglyphics. The Egyptians used this pine cone type of shape. Every time you see it, even in Buddhism, you see this pine cone shape of the of like just, and it's kind of everywhere, right? This is the pineal gland. The pineal gland itself, just so you understand, this is like an antenna that allows us to connect with divine consciousness. It's it's designed, we're designed this way to connect with divine consciousness. What happens over time though is because our diets suck, is that you calcify your brain becomes a cause to what something is called to calc- calcification process, which builds this like film, this white film around your brain and around your pineal gland, which throws off your connection to God. And this is what causes dementia, Alzheimer's, and all these brain diseases. It's all caused by your diet, by the way, especially with the consumption of fluoride. Fluoride is very toxic, especially to the brain. So this right here, the pineal gland, which is right here, the little image there, is is our receptor, is our antenna to be able to connect with divine consciousness. And it's perfect, and it's perfectly aligned with our third eye chakra right there. Our third eye chakra. That's what it's aligned with. Okay. It's interesting how we're designed. It's in our biology. We're designed this way. Our chakras are make up this energy that allows this the magnetic field to flow around us. This is like the current in which it runs through. This is a circuit. If anything gets clogged here, say you clog up your heart chakra with a lot of pain and suffering and stuff, you cut off the circulation. There is no circulation now. The as as the as the energy tries to flow through here, it gets blocked. And it's because we hold emotions. We hold negative emotions. And this is also connected to your health. But if you can unclog your chakras and allow this energy to flow, your magnetic field begins to flow and you create an aura around you. This aura is something that can be measured with electrical instruments. Okay, this aura or the magnetic field, which is the same kind of, basically the same thing, the expression of the same thing, allows you to be able to connect with God, allows you to be able to connect with people, allows you to be able to connect with nature. It's very beautiful, and it creates a balance for you. You have the crown chakra, third eye chakra, the throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral chakra, and the root chakra, all connected to all the chakras, right, going right down the center of your body, right? And then all these chakras are connected to these different levels of aura. You see the red, right? And so forth, the yellow and the orange and the green and the blue and the violet. They spread out, right? This is, you have the casual body, the celestial body, the etheric body, the astral body, the mental body, the emotional body, the etheric body. They're all connected to these auras. This is how we're designed. You can study this and start understanding how to balance these energies, and you can really improve the quality of your life. And not only that, you can establish a powerful connection with divine consciousness, with the people you love. This is all spirituality. It really is. Even though some of it is scientific, science and spirituality are pretty much the same thing. Scientists are not they're not creating anything. Scientists don't create anything. You know what they do? They discover. You know what they're discovering? They're discovering these laws of our existence, the laws of the universe. Okay, that's what they're discovering. They're not creating anything. They can't create anything. They're just discovering what God already established, the laws that God established, right? These are the 12 universal laws. This is something I highly suggest you begin studying. Because if you can understand these laws, the law of divine oneness, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, the law of action, the law of cause and effect, the law of compensation, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, the law of relativity, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm, and the law of gender. These laws, they literally explain everything in your existence, everything. And these laws are expressing these laws express God, or express, in my opinion, different dimensions of God. This is my understanding of how to study this stuff. Okay, everything comes from God. There's nothing that's separate from God. Okay, so think of God as this. We'll just choose this image right here. We'll think of God as this image right here. Okay, this is the complete expression of divine consciousness. Just say that, right? Now, if I'm just looking at God from this perspective, right, then I'm only going to see this part of God, right? But if I rotate it and I look at God from this perspective right here, this is still the expression of God, but it's expressed differently. This is what I'm talking about with these laws. These laws here, the law of divine oneness, for instance, the law of divine oneness is the same thing as the law of attraction. The law of attraction is the same thing as the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is the same thing as the law of gender. These laws are the expression of the same thing, but there is a slightly different perspective in which is representing the same laws. This is how you have to understand this. In Hinduism, they have like hundreds of thousands of different gods, right? But the way they explain it is that there is only one God that they believe in. I'm trying to open this thing up, but it's not letting me open it. Oh, here it is. It's the same thing as this, as I was talking about here. They have all these different expressions of God, but all these different um, gods in Hinduism, but these gods only express just one dimension of the one God. Okay, so we have Ganesha, right? This God is the God of basically of good fortune. That's what that God is. But then you have Shiva, that's the God of destruction. Then you have Ishnu, who's the God of intelligence. Then you have all these other gods, all these gods, which are just expression of the one God, but they're different personalities of God that they're actually focusing on, that express it. Some Hindus believe this, some Hindus don't, right? But when I heard that, I was like, dude, that's pretty cool. I never thought of it that way, right? And so these laws here, these 12 universal laws, express divine consciousness, or express one law, but they're expressed in 12 different angles. Okay. So one of the ones that I really want to focus on is just this one, the law of cause and effect. We're almost done with time here, so I can only focus on one. The law of cause and effect, right? This law here is very interesting because it says that everything you put out into the universe is exactly what comes back to you. The law of cause and effect states that if you do bad to others, that energy you put out must come back to you. It has to come back to you. You have to pay that back, because everything we do is a law of cause and effect. Everything we do causes something and creates an effect. And that effect, since the law of divine oneness states that we're all the same, that we're all connected, anything you do affects everything around you. And everything that anybody else does affects everything around them, and that we're all connected. These two laws together state that if you cause harm to others, that harm will most definitely come back to you, because the law of divine oneness states that we're all connected. There is no separation. Okay. But what's interesting is that if you do good, if you help people and you're good to people, that those good acts come back to you. The law of cause and effect stated. The law of divine oneness that says that we're all connected. There's no separation. So as you do harm to others, it comes back to you. But as you do good to others, it comes back to you as well. But even the law 7, the law of compensation, states that as you do good, you will always receive good back from that. You will always will, because the law of compensation states it. All these laws are connected. There is no separation. You can't just have the law of attraction by itself and be, oh, that's the only universal law that I believe in. I don't believe in any of the other ones. No. If you believe in the law of attraction, by default, you must believe in all 12 universal laws because they're all connected. Okay. All right. Whew. All right. So I told you guys this discussion was going to be kind of long. We're at the end of the discussion. I wish I could go even, further deeper into these laws because there's a lot going on there, but I really don't have enough time. We've hit the hour. Um, any questions, any comments, anything you guys want to add to this that you maybe you how you understand spirituality or God or whatever?
It's a lot of information that we need to look into, but it's very
You know,
interesting.
uh, this is be having 20 years of studying this stuff, so I don't expect you to understand everything, but whatever did resonate with you, use it. I think out of everything, these 12 universal laws will be what you really want to focus on more than anything. And probably getting yourself more acquainted with the masculine energy and the feminine energy and what they represent and how they're expressed within you. One thing I forgot to mention was that both both men and women have both energies inside of them, right? But a man should be more masculine than feminine, in my opinion, right? Because we're physical expressions of that masculine energy. And a woman should be more feminine than masculine because she is the physical expression of the feminine energy. And we've been designed this way purposely. This is not an accident. You weren't born a man or a woman accidentally. No, it was all done purposely. And that's another thing about these 12 universal laws. There is no accidents. There are no accidents in this world. There are no accidents in your life. Everything's on purpose. Okay. If you can understand that too, anytime anything happens, you don't ever view it as an accident. You view it as something happened on purpose, and you're like, huh, I wonder why this happened. So you start analyzing it, because if it was just an accident, you're like, oh well, it was just an accident, whatever. You know? No, 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 no. If everything's aligned with universal laws, there are no accidents in our existence, right? Everything is on purpose, everything's aligned. And so this is again a very different way to live life, because we've been brainwashed to believing that accidents happen all the time. Everything was accidental. You were accidentally born a man or a woman. These things. We were accidentally created as human beings on this planet. The Earth accidentally just came into creation accidentally. Right? I'm like, really? So perfectly? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Perfect. Like, this is just my opinion. It doesn't make any sense how perfect the system is and how it all just came about accidentally. So 12 universal laws, masculine and feminine energies. I highly suggest dive into those two things, because there's a lot of data, there's a lot of information, a lot of literature on those subjects. Okay. And it'll really provide you with a deeper understanding of these energies, because they're a part of our life. I prove this to you through this discussion, that masculine and feminine energies are expressed in everything: mathematics, physics, in our celestial world, right? The sun and the moon, internally and in ourselves. And again, designed perfectly by this higher intelligence. All right. Any any other questions or comments or anything anybody
I
wants to
just
add?
have a comment. So you basically saying like everything is energy. How does time play into that? Have you ever kind of looked into that? Time, the
So
notion
from
of time?
No, no, that's a great question. So
Yeah.
what's interesting about time is that at least the more I've studied into it, time doesn't exist. Time isn't something that's real. We
So
have
it's not like
cycles, right?
speeding up. It's not speeding up then?
So that's what scientists say. But like I've come to the conclusions that I don't really trust scientists, that's just me. Because the scientific community has been also infiltrated and corrupted by the overall system, right? And so they feed us a lot of like fake energy, fake information that isn't true. And I can prove this to you some other time. I can't prove it to you now. But ultimately, time itself, it for human beings, we feel like we're going through this sense of time, but the time isn't something that's real, especially on the energetic level. If you go down to the atomic level, time doesn't exist. It's just like, say if you had
Like
just one
connections,
particle.
right? Like, connections are just, especially now, they're just happening so fast. That's why I'm kind of,
So that's what gives you the that's what kind of gives you the impression of time,
yeah,
because there's interaction going on. If there was no interaction going on, you wouldn't have an impression of time. It would just be existence and that's it. But what's interesting, if you really think about, like, say, the past and the future, like the past has already happened, and you can go into the past to kind of analyze it and think about it, and you can create the future because you can't change the past. But in reality, where you want to live is right here in this moment, right now.
yeah.
And every moment is passing. I get it. 5 minutes ago was 5 minutes ago. 10 years ago was 10 years ago. But right now, what is going on in here is your only real true reality, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then the interaction between, like, say, us here gives us the impression that there's time, and that there's moments that are passing one right after the other. But in reality, there is no time.
Okay,
Everything is happening at the same time. Like that, the past and the future and now are all happening at the same time, which I know it's
that's
so.
interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy to understand. Like, I don't fully understand it yet, but this is just what I've read about, in the
Yeah,
books that I've read, that time doesn't exist, especially on the spiritual realm. On the spiritual realm, there's no time, there's no existence of time. It's just you exist, and there's interactions going on with other spiritual beings, that we can't see. But this
cool,
is
cool.
that's yeah, that's a deeper level, Ruby.
That is
But
some-
any other questions or comments before I let you guys go?
not really, Rick.
Right. Hey,
Thank you.
hopefully this information did help. Were you going to say something, Zulma?
No, that thank you, because
No.
I want to look into everything deeper. You hear about all these things, and I try to go deeper in some of them. I did, but some others is like you don't even get there. So I will want to really look into it.
No, yeah. It is an evolution that you go through, but you should go through it consciously. I mean, this information is exciting for me personally, and hopefully it is for you as well. And if it can give you a better understanding of your reality, and if it can improve your understanding of your reality, that's a benefit for you. It really is, because then you can improve the quality of your life, and you have a better life for yourself and for your future. And then I think another powerful thing about the 12 universal laws is that you're in control, right? You can really control what you create. If you really look at the universal laws, the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, everything you do, everything you do comes back to you. All right, so if I just do good, the law of compensation states that I receive that good back. I, um, and then there are no accidents in life. So if you did in the past, if you did a lot of messed up stuff and you hurt a lot of people, you're gonna have to pay that back. All right. You may not like me saying that, but it is the truth. It is, and that's what the universal laws state. Okay. You have to pay it back. There is no other way. And it's okay. It's a part of your growth. It's a part of your development, especially at a spiritual level. But other than that, yes, now I'll let you guys go. You guys have a blessed day. Thank you for your time. And hopefully this information